goals of the Santa Barbara Council of the Navy League of the United States are to educate our nation and our nation's leaders about the needs of our maritime nation, to support the men, women, and families serving our nation's armed forces, and to support drug, alcohol, and gang-free environments where young Americans can learn the value of being of service to others.
You can ask a question, either the whole panel can answer or any one person can decide if you want to take a question. So let's start here.
Just to address the whole panel, was there anything that you learned in the military that you felt really valuable and paid off and you use today in the civilian life that you would have known if it wasn't for military experience?
Yeah, really just to be punctual, because a lot of what you do in there kind of like doesn't translate into civilian life other than just hard work and, dedication.
Yeah, you learn how to get like pushed to the edge, like you learn your limits, and you'd be surprised how like much you could go, how much time you could go without sleep, how many days you go without food. Like it's pretty good how many days you go without showering. Oh man, I definitely hated that one. But yeah, it's just you get so much like you go through all these things, and then you come back and you're like, man, I was really spoiled. Like eating in and out every day, all that stuff. Oh man, but yeah, so like you really realize like how good your life was, and just like how different it is over there.
Self-discipline and just never quitting. I mean, I used to quit everything when I grew up. My parents weren't that strict, and I thought I could quit the Army at one point. And I learned out the hard way I couldn't. But I really took that to heart and just said, I'm going to apply this to the rest of my life.
How do you feel about organizations such as the Navy League?
Can you elaborate more on the Navy League so everyone knows what it is?
These are an organization that's held and they help out troops that are deployed, and they send out things like books, computers for troops that are out there serving our country. So, do you feel made you feel closer to home when you receive such packages?
I was gonna say like little pepper and salt and pepper almonds, man. Those things could trade so easy over there. Yeah, I always loved it. I loved some of those little letters. I don't remember who gave us the care package anymore because I never got a single one personally. But what we would do is, since it came to the whole division, we just the guy from the division would usually split up most of the goods. But we got some pretty cool little cards and stuff, like little pictures and stuff. It was kind of cool. I don't know. Definitely makes you feel closer to home. Especially when half the time the only internet connection you have is like the intranet. It's like the confidential landlines. And pretty much all you can do is send information, like emails about work to other people at work.
Any care package that came, 95% of them were great. The ones that were boxes full of soap and more soap, that was too much soap. So we get ones that had just feminine hygiene products. I don't know where we get those, but every time you get anything addressed that has your name on there, who cares what it is? Yes, that's what I wanted to read the paper.
Self-esteem booster, just all around. It's just knowing that people care, knowing that people are thinking about you. It's just, even if you have no idea who this person is, just getting something from someone, it's just it's so nice. It just puts a big smile on your face, It's really cool, really cool.
You're getting these boxes addressed to your name from people that you don't like. I used to get a box from a lady in Boston, and I was like, how does she even know where I am or whatever? So first I was kind of surprised that they have access to my information and everything, but then as I kept going, I was like, all right, I'll take it because there's cookies and a lot of stuff. Yeah.
What do you miss the most in the military?
Yeah, I would have to say the same thing. It's just the friends and how close the bonds that you build with them. Because these are people that literally will take a bullet for you. So, and you know that when you come back to the States, all you gotta do is pick up the phone and maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, hey, I need help, and they'll come and help you. It's just it's amazing to see the bonds that you build and the different kinds of people that you meet. When I was in South Carolina, I met some of my friends were from South Carolina, and that was the first time where I actually saw somebody. I had a chance to see somebody watch an entire NASCAR race for 4 hours. So I'm sitting there watching this guy watch NASCAR for 4 hours because I think it wasn't humanly possible to watch his cars go round and round. But this guy is, so you meet all kinds of people. And then I had a friend from that same unit from South Carolina. They used to make fun of him, and they were like, oh, they asked him the first question as soon as he checked into our unit. They asked him, like, well, I bet you the first time you saw a black guy was when you went to boot camp. And he said, no, the first time I saw a black guy was when I was 16 years old and I went to a gas station. And his best friend, his best buddy, turned out to be a black guy. So, I mean, it was amazing to see these two guys go hunting together and all this. I mean, it's just amazing to see how people just can bond.
And you just like hang out with the guys and be like, dude, you remember this one time? It's like, it's really cool. But like, it's something that it's kind of, I don't want to like say that it's like extremely hard. Like, you know, you definitely find friends and acquaintances, but like he was saying, it's just these guys are willing to take a bullet for you. There's not really that many people you know. So it's really interesting just how like we all just you had to connect. I mean, it had to work, and it was really cool. It worked out.
And the everyday challenges that the military gives you, you know, you always miss, well, you don't miss it when you're doing it, the morning PT or, you know, whatever it is, you know, it's every day there's some sort of challenge that you've got to meet. And you look back on it and you just think, you know, if you're that type of person that likes that kind of stuff, you think, man, you know, I really miss that. And you got to find a way to challenge yourself and try to do it, you know, challenge yourself differently in this academic environment instead of a more physical environment. And, but mainly camaraderie. I mean, all these guys right here, you know, I'm buddies with, and just right when I met them, it's just like that because we've all been through the same kind of stuff. And that's my only friends at UCSB are veterans. And maybe that's saying something, but it's hard to relate to somebody that hasn't traveled anywhere, that hasn't been through the same kind of stuff that you have, and is the same age group as you as well.
If there's a vet on campus who's having trouble with school and life, what would be the difference between what you as a fellow vet could say to that person to try to help them out versus what someone who hasn't had military experience would do?
And it really depends on what their problems are. If their problems are that they didn't really get into like school, they didn't get school per se, you know, like, oh man, it's like too hard, I can't keep my grades up. There's a lot of things you can do for there, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely learned how to go to school. That's one thing I learned how to do. You know what I mean? And I'm always, you know, I'm totally down to help people out or whatever, like with things of that nature. You know, there's like Vets for Vets, is another organization where they have, they actually train different veterans how to talk to other veterans about the problems that they're having. You know, better training than say I would be able to give you, you know, if it was a good buddy of mine who was Boris or whatever, it's like, dude, I'm having trouble. Like he and I know each other enough to where there's that kind of bond like we talked about. If it was a vet that just I didn't really know too well, then I can only ask them, you know, what their trouble is, and if it's related to something we had common, not something that was like, oh well, you know, my brother's, you know, has problems or something like that. I mean, you know, that's the best answer I can give.
Also, I want to comment on your comment about not really making a difference, because we have a saying in admissions about the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And so whether you're in the bowels of a boat doing one little thing or, you know, spending your time doing that one job, when you put it all together, that's what makes the difference. And so I think you should all feel like you've made a contribution and a difference to your mission. My question is, what do you find to be your best resource on campus? And what do you wish you had as a resource on campus that you're missing?
All right, hands down, there's two ladies. Jamie Dowd, she's right there. Definitely, please give her a round of applause.
Thunderbird.
Those two ladies just busted out red carpets for us. I mean, the things that they've done.
They're the money ladies.
But at the same time, they help us out, like letting us know that we have priority registration and priority housing. Gina literally gave me the phone number to the guy that deals with the housing, and I called him up like, oh, so I need to figure out what's going on with the housing. I'm a little bit older than the crowd there. I want to make sure, you know, I have like my own room and stuff, and just like that, push my application to the front and everything. So like they have definitely helped us out, and honestly, I don't see anything else. I mean, I'm pretty sure other people might see other things that we need. But those two ladies have definitely helped us out, like, and more than money. They definitely are there for us.
Good.
I think one of the resources that we are actually missing is actually to have like a room for just veterans, like you're like an SRB or something. So we could have, I know we have our meetings like on Thursday nights and everything, but some people can't make it. It's like if we had a room where you could come in and meet other veterans that are like just hanging out there and stuff, because out of our group we only have like 15 that are showing up, and there's more. I know they probably want to come out, but everybody's schedule is different, so that'd probably help out a lot.
While you were deployed, was there a feeling of disconnect as to what was happening stateside, whether it's politically or personally?
I didn't care. It's like you put your life on pause for a year, and then it's kind of a trip to come back and, oh, this happened? You look through the news, I mean, but really, I mean, just for me, I mean, I didn't care at all. Political disconnect, it was great. It's like you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Your bills are legally paused. I mean, everything is just paused on hold for you. And I didn't have a wife back then, and so it was fantastic. It was just, not like I couldn't, now I couldn't leave her alone for 12 months. I mean, I'd go crazy. But now, or before 12 months, okay, great. I'm just doing my own thing. I'm away from all that BS that was back in the States or Italy, whatever. So it was fantastic.
But just to go along, like you were saying, you kind of you have to get detached a little bit from what's going on back home, so you can do your job and focus on your job and just do that. Going back to the care packages, if you get magazines or something to read, you sometimes don't even have to read that stuff, or magazines or paper. I mean, it's nice that you get them, but if you're in and out, you don't have time to read a book or a magazine, or just going and I miss Thanksgiving and Christmas. And all I had was like a dinner, and that's it. But just the whole thing, you just kind of like have to detach yourself from what's going on in the body.
I remember my first Christmas away, my mom did not celebrate Christmas at all. And I have like 3 siblings, And they just didn't get Christmas that year at all. Like, she didn't get a tree, she didn't do anything. And I just remember like getting emails from my sister being like, what's the matter with you? Haven't you called mom and told her she's crazy? I'm like...
Going along those lines, we had a saying on our ship. I was in the Navy on the aircraft carrier USS Kitty Hawk. It since has been decommissioned, but it was the last conventional aircraft carrier. And what we used to say is, the days drag and the weeks fly. And you're going every day. It's just like feels like yesterday. But next thing you know, it's a week or a month later. You're in port, and you go over it again. Another thing I like to point out is that there's a veteran resource team that the missions put together, and I'd like to thank them for their efforts. And
The registrar.
My apologies. The registrar has put a veteran resource team together, and they're doing a lot of things. So if you'd like to get involved, you think you can help out, I suggest getting in touch with Jenny Johns and seeing where you might be able to help out and give a helping hand. What sorts of things did you guys do to pass time? Like some of the things that we do is have like eating contests, especially towards like the end of deployment, because we get care packages.
We had some downtown. They would send me to do clean vehicles or to do inventory for our armory and count all the rounds, every single round. And then, other than that, just go for a run or something. Try to exercise.
It's been a couple of years, but I used to go to the gym like 7 days a week. I mean, I was there all the time. It's like the only thing you could do, and they fed you so good, so you could actually gain weight. It's like, wow, awesome. Go to the gym, blah blah blah. And I'd say that was about the most. Toward the end, I got real senior, and I got senioritis, and I quit doing anything. If you wanted to find Nick, you found him in the lounge, hanging out. About 3-4 months or so. I mean, I did not do anything. I watched every season of Office, all the heroes, like all that stuff. I mean, like I packed it all up there, ready to go. I was like, can't wait. And yeah, so there are moments when you have an absolute lull of work and you have nothing else to do, And so.
Victor,
DVDs.
you told me once when we were at the SBCC Veterans Fair that you watched one movie like 120 times.
Oh, that's true. You guys want to know what that movie was? Sweet home Alabama. I mean, come on, we're all outside all the time. All you see is violence out there most of the time, and then you come back, you got Sweet home Alabama. For the soul.
This one is, while you were deployed and now post redeployment, how accurately were you depicted in the different aspects of the media, such as news, books, films?
I agree with Victor, that one, Generation Kill, it was like a Marine recon platoon that they just follow them, whatever, but when it comes to the media, the little that I could see or follow is like they would only do like negative things. They wouldn't say like, okay, well, they just built a school today, or they're building a hospital. Like all the positive things that some of the Marines were actually doing, it was never on the news.
I guess Jarhead's a pretty good movie too. That's pretty accurate. It's funny. There's definitely some scenes in there that were like really surreal. It was just like, yeah, that definitely happens. But I mean, most of the other stuff is like really just Hollywood out. And if you think about it, Generation Kill and Jarhead were books that were written by a Marine. One was written by a Marine, the other one was written by a reporter that followed Marines for like months. So that's why it's so real.
Hurt Locker. While it was really cool, there's a lot of inaccuracies in that, but pretty cool. I don't know, as far as the media and stuff like that, like the news and American media is censored. I mean, a lot of that is all censored. You're getting censored news, and they fool you into thinking, yeah, this is both sides of the story. That's all BS. You never see any dead soldiers on TV. You see Michael Jackson's funeral covering a week of news coverage, but you don't see anything about, my buddies who died out there, or any of these other dead soldiers and Marines. Not one dead body is displayed. It's like you're seeing a war that has no repercussions for anybody, and it's kind of disheartening to see that, someone's participated in it. You just think, what the hell is going on? Like, what's the whole point? So, I hate the American media, so I'll say that.
Could you guys just elaborate a little bit on the GI Bill, how it's helped you further your education post being in the military? I don't know if people really understand what it is and how it's affecting you guys or helping you guys.
Basically, you put in $100 a month for a year, so $1,200. Then originally they promised you $40,000 back for college. It's turned out to be a little bit better than that. Now they have, for the same $1,200 that you put in, they'll pay for all of your in-state tuition for whatever university you get accepted to, and they'll give you a stipend to go to school with. Pay for most of it, I guess. I don't know. That's what they tell me.
Let's say for UC Santa Barbara, we're getting all the tuition paid for, the quarter or whatever, which comes out to be more than $3,000, right? But let's say a state college in like Missouri, you're not going to be getting that. You're going to be getting paid up to what the most expensive state college is there. But you also, like you said, you get a stipend depending on where you live. So cost of living there, that also varies as well.
It's definitely the most you ever get back for $1,200. Unless you get
Is it
really lucky, there's some hole up or something.
Yes, it's everybody. Well, actually, yeah.
It's open to everybody.
It's
unless you got an honorable, unless you got a dishonorable discharge. They'll take it away if you get dishonorable discharge or some of the, what they call other than honorable discharges. Like some people, if you did, let's suppose you were abusing drugs or something and they kicked you out, they may not give you the GI Bill that you paid for.
But it's specifically for college?
Yes.
You have to be enrolled. It's also different for reservists as well, especially like given myself. I went in as a reserve contract and then I got activated, and they only count the amount of time that I was activated, so I only get a certain percentage of it. Unlike the rest of these guys, they get the full thing, but they went active duty though, so it's a little bit different for reservists. And if you don't get activated as a reservist, you just get the reserve GI Bill, and that's like pennies.
But it's also for grad school. If you want to go to grad school, it covers grad school. As long as you still have money left, you can use it for grad school.
If you're a career service personnel, though, it is transferable to family or spouses, immediate family, correct?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
they just
Oh,
modified
they just
it.
did that?
But you have to, if you want to do
This
that.
is new news, like yesterday, because like last week.
Dependent
it was
upon
that.
when
Right.
you re-enlisted and how long you had time in service, and it has to be an
Oh, you
immediate.
had to have re-enlisted and stuff, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
there's,
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of parameters about who can transfer that to a spouse or child.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
it's not just anybody can give it away, there are rules about who gets it.
You have to have like
And
service
it's the
connected
same for
disability.
when, like you were talking about the reservists, like you could get 100% if you had served a certain amount of time active duty.
That's it. But the
Yeah.
only problem with that active duty
So-
is they have to activate you.
Right.
You can't volunteer.
Exactly.
So
So it's all dependent upon your time in service.
So I'm an ROTC cadet here, and I want to become an officer when I graduate. So my question would be, what sort of things did you admire, or what made an effective officer when you're dealing with them? And then what sort of things do you wish you just like never have to see again?
like just because of the fact that you're an officer, we have to salute you, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to respect you. And it's a give and take kind of situation. You know, definitely learn to respect the people that have been there and know what's going on. You know, like the sergeants and above, even the corporals and above. Like, understand what's going on before, like, you just jump in and just like, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, and just shake everything up, you know what I mean? Like, yes, we are gonna respect you, we are gonna call you sir and stuff like that, but, you know, it's a give and take kind of situation, you know? But like you was talking about, like, definitely, like, make sure you know what you're doing, don't just, you know, oh, okay, oh, we're lost, you know, it's like.
I mean, if your soldiers happen to haze you, don't take it personal. They're actually trying to accept you. Haze you.
You guys said you've made like a lot of friends in the field and everything, and I was just wondering, saw one on Jenny says this would be a good question. What do you guys think about the don't ask, don't tell policy?
I mean, I guess, I don't know how to feel about that question, you know, you're in real close quarters with people, you know, like, it never really came up, I can say that much. For me personally, for one of my buddies, I guess someone had, you know, you just have to be wary of this normal sexual harassment. I'm on a ship with a bunch of women, you know, anyway, so it's just, you just have to be understanding what sexual harassment is and the policies of that. It never really was like, I mean, we get a lot of jokes. 50, 100 sailors go down, 50 couples come up, all that kind of thing. You know? There's 1,000 sailor jokes. You know what I mean? But like I said, it never came up that much.
I served with Marines who were homosexual or gay, and they were combat decorated. They were great Marines. They were extremely dedicated to their job. I mean, they were like, prime Marines. And just to get them kicked out because, well, I mean, we never had any incidents or anything like that. They knew what was going on, but it was with guys and girls the same thing. I served with women in that situation, and they were great. I mean, some of these women are combat decorated. They're so combat, and they did a great job out there. And to have them kicked out, after they spend so much money on the training and all this, and then you send them to court-martial, and if you're going to court-martial, your unit has to pay. Say I'm getting court-martial for that, I have the right to bring character witness to speak on my behalf. Well, now my unit has to pay for their plane tickets and their hotel where they're going to be staying. If it's a week or a month, they have to pay for all that. And I'm talking about even if these are people that are in Okinawa or whatever, they still have to pay for the plane ticket, round trip. I mean, it's just a waste. I mean, in my opinion, it's just a waste of money. But on the at the same time, it's an institution it's hard to change. And there's a lot of old school people and a lot of old school generals that are probably not. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a really difficult situation, I guess.
So I'm wondering why you all agreed to be on the panel, or what you hope comes from this event.
I think we just wanted to let you guys know about who's actually sitting in your classroom. That you guys actually have veterans that sit next to you in class. And sometimes for us, it's like we hear some of the comments that are going on, and I'm like thinking, do you even know where I've been? It's just weird for me. Like every time we're in the classroom, I always hear some comments about Iraq or Afghanistan or something, depending on what classroom I'm in. And sometimes it's just difficult. Like I'm always reminded that I was there or did something just because, you know, some professor wants to just talk about it in class. Here we go again.
Well, part of it is that I hear a lot of, I guess, opinions or comments, and some of it is not really accurate, or how it is, or how it was for me, and that's for one part, just to see that, you know, the people, you know, to your left and to your right might be a veteran, and they probably not want to participate, or they don't even want to tell you. And I can tell you right now, like for example, David over there, he's a Marine infantry guy, and he probably has better stories. Like I know he's been through some shit, but he didn't even want to come up here. But you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't want to talk about it or whatever. He wants to just keep it like that. But just the fact that, you know, you never know who you're sitting next to, and then you're making all these comments. I mean, obviously you can't really, you know, you can't know, but at least to, you know, if you, at least it's coming from us, like people who have been there and seen stuff like that. And then the other part is like, just like he was saying, if you have a friend who wants to join or are thinking about joining, like we're more than happy to talk to them and tell them, hey, this is really how it's gonna be, because your recruiter might sugarcoat everything. So
Maybe a resource that if anyone has any military questions, and I don't know who you would ask for that. If I was in your shoes, I'd Google it. I mean, so I thought this is a good opportunity. If anyone has any weird questions about the military, or they wanted to join, or you know, like this future lieutenant here, whatever, just anything you have you want to get off your chest, or just the dumbest questions. I mean, it doesn't matter, but you know, give you an opportunity to come ask and just hear it from someone who's actually done it.
All right, well, with that, let's give a round of applause.
The Navy League provides support to our men and women of the sea services around the world. With the help of individual and corporate members, the sea services become integrated into the local communities they serve and protect. In addition to providing support today to the men and women serving at home and abroad, the Navy League always looks to the future, to today's young people and tomorrow's leaders. The need for a strong, vital sea service, recognized by Theodore Roosevelt in 1902, is no less today. The challenges facing our nation have never been greater. More than 100 years later, the Navy League continues to answer the call. Your support makes a difference to our men and women of the sea services who serve today and will serve tomorrow in support of American sea power. As one Secretary of the Navy said, the sun never sets on the Navy League.